Pleasure and affection to congratulate the princess at her pavilion in the posteriors of this day, which the rude multitude call the afternoon.
The posterior of the day, most generous sir, is liable, congruent, measurable for the afternoon. The word is well called, chose, sweet, and apt. I do assure you, sir, I do assure.
Sir, the king is a noble gentleman, and my familiar, I do assure ye, very good friend. For what is inward between us, let it pass. The very all of all is. But, sweetheart, I do implore secrecy, that the king would have me present the princess, sweet Chuck, with some delightful ostentation, or show, or pageant, or antique, or firework.
Sir, you will present a musical interlude, sir, concerning some entertainment of time to be performed by our assistants at the king's command for the princess.
Most dull, honest dull. To our sport, then. Away.
Sweethearts, we shall be rich ere we depart if bearings come thus plentifully in. A lady walled about with diamonds. Look you what I have from the loving king.
Madam, came nothing else along with that?
Nothing but this. Yes, as much love in rhyme as would be crammed up in a sheet of paper, writ on both sides of the leaf, margin and all, that he was fain to seal in Cupid's name.
That was the way to make his godhead wax, for he hath been 5,000 years a boy.
But Rosaline, you have a favor too. Who sent it and what is it?
I would you knew. And if my face were as fair as yours, my favor were as great. Be witness this, nay, I have verses too. I think, Baron, the number's true, and were the numbering too, I were the fairest goddess on the ground. I am compared to 20,000 fairs. Oh, he hath drawn my picture in this letter.
Anything like?
Much in the letters, nothing in the praise.
Beauteous as ink. A good conclusion.
Fair as his text be in a copybook.
Where pencils, ho, let me not die your debtor, my red dominical, my golden letter. Oh, that your face were not so full of O's.
A pox on that, I beshrew all shrouds.
But Catherine, what was sent to you from fair Dumaine?
Madam, this glove.
Did he not send you twain?
Yes, madam, and moreover, some 1,000 verses from a faithful lover.
Ooh.
A huge translation of vile hypocrisy, vilely compiled, and just profound simplicity.
That, and these pearls, to me sent long ago. The letter is too long by half a mile.
Oh, I think no less. Dost thou wish in heart the chain were longer and the letter short?
Aye, or I would these hands would never part.
We are wise girls to mock our lovers so.
They are worse fools to purchase mocking so. That same Baron I'll torture ere I go. Oh, that I knew that he were in but by the week, how I would make him fawn and beg and seek and wait the season and observe the times and spend his prodigal wits in bootless rhymes. and shape his service wholly to my hest, and make him proud to make me proud that jests so petulant-like would I o'ersway his state, that he should be my fool, and I his fate.
None are so surely caught when they are catched as wit turned fool, folly in wisdom hatched. Hath wisdom's warrant and the help of school and wit's own grace to grace a learned fool.
The blood of youth burns not with such excess as gravity's revolt to wantonness.
Folly in fools bears not so strong a note as foolery in the wise, when wit doth dote, since all the power thereof it doth apply to prove by wit worth in simplicity.
Here comes Boyet, and mirth is in his face.
Oh, I am stabbed with laughter. Where's her grace?
Thy news, Boyet?
Oh, prepare, madam, prepare. Arm, wenches, arm. Encounters mounted are against your peace. Love doth approach, disguised, armed in arguments. You will be surprised. Muster your wits, stand in your own defense, or hide your heads like cowards and fly hence.
St. Denis to St. Cupid, what are they that charge their breath against us? Say, scout, say.
Under the cool shade of a sycamore, I thought to close mine eyes some half an hour, when, lo, to interrupt my purposed rest, toward the shade I might behold addressed the king and his companions. Warily I stole into a neighbor thicket by, and overheard what you shall overhear, that by and by, disguised, they will be here. Their herald is a pretty knavish page, that well by heart hath conned his embassage, action and accent did they teach him there. Thou must speak thus, and thus must thy body bear, and ever and anon made a doubt presence majestical would put him out. For, quoth the king, an angel shall thou see, yet fear not thou, but speak audaciously. The boy replied, I should have feared her had she been a devil. With that, all laughed and clapped him on the shoulder, making the bold wagging praises bolder. One rubbed his elbows thus, and fleered, and swore a better speech was never spoke before. Another with his finger and his thumb cried, Via, we will do it, come what will, come. The third, he capered and cried, all goes well. The fourth turned on the toe, and down he fell. With that, they all did tumble on the ground with such a zealous laughter, so profound, that in this spleen ridiculous appears to check their folly, passion's solemn tears.
But what? Come they to visit us?
They do, and are apparelled thus, like Muscovites or Russians, as I guess. Their purpose is to parley, to court, and dance, and everyone his love feet will advance unto his several mistress, which they will know by favors several which they did bestow.
And will they so? The gallants shall be tasked. For ladies, we shall every one be masked, and not a man of them shall have the grace, despite of suit, to see a lady's face. Hold, Rosaline, this favor thou shalt wear, and then the king will court thee for his dear. Here, take thou this, my sweet, and give me thine. So shall Barone take me for Rosaline, and change your favors too, so shall your loves woo contrary, deceived by these removes.
Come on then, where the favors most in sight.
What's your intent?
The effect of my intent is to cross theirs. They do it but in mocking merriment, and mock for mock is only my intent. There's several counsels that they unbosom shall to loves mistook, and so be mocked withal. Upon the next occasion that we meet, with visages displayed to talk and greet.
But shall we dance if they desire to it?
No. To the death we will not move a foot, nor to their pen speech render we no grace, but while 'tis spoke, each turn away her face.
Oh, why, the contempt will kill the speaker's heart and quite divorce memory from his heart.
Therefore I do it, and I make no doubt the rest will ne'er come in if he be out. There's no such sport as sport by sport o'erthrown to make theirs ours and ours none but our own. So shall we stay, mocking intended game, and they, well mocked, depart away with shame?
The trumpet sounds. Be masked, the maskers come.
All hail the richest beauties of the earth.
Beauty's no richer than rich taffeta.
A holy parcel of the fairest dames that ever turned their backs to mortal views.
Their eyes, villain, their eyes.
That ever turned their eyes to mortal views. Out
True, out indeed.
out of your favours, heavenly spirits, vouchsafe not to behold.
Once to behold, rogue.
Once to behold with your sunbeamed eyes. With your sunbeamed eyes.
They will not answer to that epithet. You had best call it daughter-beamed eyes.
You do not mark me, and that brings me out.
Is this your perfectness? Begone, you rogue.
What would these strangers know their minds, Boyet, if they do speak our language? 'Tis our will that some plain man recount their purposes. Know what they would.
What would you with the princess?
Nothing but peace and gentle visitation.
What would they, say they?
Nothing but peace and gentle visitation.
Why, that they have, and bid them so be gone.
She says you have it, and thus may be gone.
Say to her, we have measured many miles to tread a measure with her on this grass.
They say that they have measured many a mile to tread measure with you on this grass.
It is not so. Ask them how many miles, and ask them how many inches is in 1 mile, if they have measured many. The measure then of one is easily told.
If to come hither you have measured miles and many miles, the princess bids you tell how many inches doth fill up 1 mile.
Tell her we measure them by weary steps.
Oh, she hears herself.
How many weary miles have you o'ergone, are numbered in the travel of 1 mile.
We number nothing that we spend for you. Our duty is so rich, so infinite, that we may do it without a count. Vouchsafe to show the sunshine of your face, that we, like savages, may worship it.
My face is but a moon, and clouded too.
Blessed are clouds to do as such clouds do. Vouchsafe, bright moon, and these thy stars to shine, those clouds removed upon our watery eye.
O vain petitioner, beg a greater matter. Thou now request but moonshine in the water.
Then in our measure do but vouchsafe one change. Thou bidst me beg. This begging is not strange.
Play music then. And nay, you must do it soon. Not yet, no dance, thus change I like the moon.
Will you not dance? How come you thus estranged?
You took the moon at full, but now she is changed.
Yet still she is the moon, and I is the man. Is the music plays, vouchsafe some motion to it.
Our ears vouchsafe it.
But your legs should do it.
Since you are strangers and come here by chance, will not be nice. Take hands, we will not dance.
Why take the hands then?
Only to part as friends. Curtsy, sweethearts, and so the measure ends.
More measure of this measure. Be not nice.
We can afford no more at such a price.
Prize you yourselves. What buys your company?
Your absence only.
That can never be.
Then we cannot be bought, and so adieu. Twice to your visor, and half once to you.
If you deny to dance, let's hold more chat.
In private, then.
I am best pleased with that.
A white-handed mistress, one sweet word with thee?
Honey and milk and sugar. There's 3.
Nay then, 2 trays. And if you grow so nice, Methiglin, Worth, and Malmsey. Well run dice. There's half a dozen sweets.
7th sweet. Adieu. Since you can cog, I'll play no more with you.
1 word in secret?
Let it not be sweet.
Thou grievest my gall.
Gall. Bitter.
Therefore meet.
Will you vouchsafe with me a change of art?
Name it.
Fair lady.
Say you so? Fair lord, take that for your fair lady.
Please it to you as much in private, and I'll bid you.
What? Was your vizard made without a tongue?
I know the reason, lady. Why you ask?
Oh, for your reason. Quickly, sir, I long.
You have double tongue within your mask. You would afford my speechless vizard self?
Veal, quoth the Dutchman. Is that veal a calf?
A calf, fair lady.
No, a fair lord calf.
Let's part the word.
No, I'll not be your half. Take all and wean it, it may prove an ox.
Look how you butt yourself with these short mocks. Will you give horns, chaste lady? Do not so.
Then die a calf before your horns do grow.
1 word in private with you, ere I die.
Bleat softly then, the butcher hears you cry. The tongues of mocking wenches are as keen as the razor's edge invisible, cutting a smaller hair than may be seen above sense of sense. So sensible seemeth their conference. Their conceits have wings fleeter than arrows, bullets, wind thought, swifter things.
Not more, one more word, my maids. Break off, break off.
I heaven, all dry beaten with pure scoff.
Farewell, my mad ventures. You have simple wits.
Fit to you Jews, my frozen Moscovits. Are these the breed of wits so wondered at?
Tapers they are, with your sweet breaths puffed out.
Well-liking wits they have, gross, gross, fat, fat.
Oh, poverty and wit, kingly poor flout. Will they not think you hang themselves tonight, or ever but in vizard show their faces? This pert barone was out of countenance quite.
Oh, they were all in lamentable cases. The king was weeping ripe for a good word.
Barone did swear himself out of all suit.
Dumaine was at my service, and his sword. No point, quoth I. My servant straight was mute.
Lord Longueville said I came over his heart, and trow you what he called me?
Qualm, perhaps?
I, in good faith.
Go, sickness as thou art.
Well, better wits have worn plain statue caps, but will you hear? The king is my love sworn.
And quick Barone hath plighted fate to me.
And Lord Longueville was for my service born.
And Dumaine is mine, as sure as bark on tree.
Madam and pretty mistresses, give ear. Immediately they will again be here in their own shapes, for it can never be they will digest this harsh indignity.
Will they return?
They will, God knows, and leap for joy, though they are lame with blows. Therefore, change favors, and when they reappear, blow like sweet roses in the summer air.
How blow? How blow? Speak to be understood.
Fair ladies, masked are roses in their buds. Dismasked, their damask sweet commixture shown, are angels veiling clouds or roses blown.
Avaunt perplexity. What shall we do if they return in their own shapes to woo?
Good madam, if by me you'll be advised, let's mock them still, as well known as disguised. Let us complain to them what fools were here, disguised like Muscovites in shapeless gear, and wonder what they were and to what end their shallow shows and prologue vilely penned, and their rough carriage so ridiculous should be presented at our tent to us.
Ladies, withdraw, the gallants are at hand.
Whip to our tents as roes run o'er land.
Fair madam, God save you. Where's the princess?
Gone to her tent. Please, at your majesty, command me any service to her thither.
That she vouchsafe me audience for one word.
I will, and so will she, I know, my lord.
This consort pecks up wit as pigeons peas, and utters it again when God doth please. She is wit's peddler and retails her wares at wakes and wassails, meetings, markets, fairs. See where it comes. Behavior, what were thou till this mad woman showed thee, and what art thou now?
All hail, sweet madam, and fair time of day.
Fair in all hail is foul, as I conceive.
Construe my speech as better, if you may.
Then wish me better. I will give you leave.
We came to visit you, and purpose now to lead you to our court. Vouchsafe now.
This field shall hold me, and so hold your vow. Nor God nor I delights in perjured men.
Rebuke me not for that which you provoke. The virtue of your eye must break my oath.
You nickname virtue. Vice you should have spoke, for virtue's office never breaks men's troth. Now, by my maiden honor, yet as pure as the unsullied lily, I protest. A world of torments though I should endure, I would not yield to be your house's guest. So much I hate a breaking cause to be of heavenly oaths vowed with integrity.
Oh, you have lived in desolation here, unseen, unvisited, much to our shame.
Not so, my lord, it is not so, I swear. We have had pastimes here and pleasant game. A mess of Russians left us but of late.
How, madam? Russians?
Aye, in truth, my lord, trim gallants full of courtship and of state.
Madam, speak true. It is not so, my lord. My lady, to the manner of her days and courtesy, gives undeserving praise. We for indeed confronted were with foreign Russian habit. Here they stayed an hour and talked apace, and in that hour, my lord, they did not bless us with one happy word. I dare not call them fools, but this I think, when they are thirsty, fools would fain have drink.
This jest is dry to me. Fair, gentle, sweet, your wit makes wise things foolish. When we greet with eyes best seeing, heaven's fiery eye, by light we lose light. Your capacity is of that nature that to your huge store, wise things seem foolish, and rich things but poor.
This proves you wise and rich, for in mine eye
I am a fool and full of poverty.
But that you take what doth to you belong, it were a fault to snatch words from my tongue.
Oh, I am yours and all that I possess.
All the full mine?
I cannot give you less.
Which of the vizards was it that you wore?
Where? When? What vizard? Why demand you this?
There, then, that vizard, that superfluous case that hid the worse and showed the better face.
We are descried. They'll mock us now downright.
Let us confess and turn it into a jest.
Amazed, my lord? Oh, why looks your highness sad?
Oh, help, hold his brows, he'll swoon. Why look you pale? Seasick, I think, coming from Muscovy.
Thus pour the stars down plagues for perjury. Can any face of brass hold longer out? Here stand I, lady. Dart thy skill at me. Bruise me with scorn, confound me with a flout. Thrust thy sharp wit quite through my ignorance. Cut me to pieces with thy keen conceit, and I will wish thee nevermore to dance, nor nevermore in Russian habit wait. I do forswear them, and I here protest by this white glove, how white the hand, God knows. Henceforth my wooing mind shall be expressed in russet yeas and honest curtsy noes. And to begin, wench, so God help me, la. My love to thee is sound, sans crack or flaw.
Sans, I pray you.
Yet I have a trick of the old rage, bear with me. I am sick. I'll leave it by degrees, soft. Let us see rights. Lord, have mercy on us, for in those three, they are infected. In their hearts it lies. They have the plague and caught it of your eyes. These lords are visited. You are not free, for the Lord's tokens on you do I see.
No, they are free that gave these tokens to us.
Our states are forfeit. Seek not to undo us.
It is not so, for how can this be true that you stand forfeit, being those that sue?
Peace, for I will not have to do with you.
Nor shall not if I do as I intend.
Speak for yourself. My wit is at an end.
Teach us, sweet madam, for our rude transgressions, some fair excuse.
The fairest is confession. Were you not here, but even now disguised?
Madam, I was.
And were you well advised?
I was, fair madam.
When you then were here, what did you whisper in your lady's ear?
That more than all the world, I did respect her.
When she shall challenge this, you will reject her.
Upon my honor, no.
Peace, forbear. Your oath once broke, you force not to forswear.
Despise me when I should break this oath of mine.
I will, and therefore keep it. Rosaline, what did the Russian whisper in your ear?
Madam, he swore that he did hold me dear as precious eyesight, and that did value me above this world, adding thereto, moreover, that he would wed me, or else die my lover.
Oh, God give thee joy of him. The noble lord most honorably doth unhold his word.
What mean you, madam? By my life, my troth, I never swore this lady such an oath.
By heaven you did, and to confirm it plain, you gave me this, but take it, sir, again.
My faith, and this the princess I did give. I knew her by this jewel on her sleeve.
Pardon me, sir, this jewel did she wear? And Lord Barone, I thank him, is my dear. What, will you have me or your pearl again?
Neither of either. I remit both twain. I see the trick on't. Here was the consent, knowing aforehand of our merriment, to dash it like a Christmas comedy. Now to our perjury to add more terror. We are again forsworn in will and error. Much upon this it is. And might not you forestall our sport to make us thus untrue? Do not you know my lady's foot by the squire and laugh upon the apple of her eye? And stand between her back, sir, and the fire, holding the treacher, jesting merrily. You put our page out. Go, you are allowed. Die when you will, a smock shall be your shroud. You leer upon me, do you? There's an eye. Wounds like a leaden sword.
Full merrily hath this brave managed, this career been run.
Lo, he is tilting straight. Peace, I have done. Doff! Welcome, pure wit, thou partest a fair fray.
Lord, sir, the performers will know whether they will come in or no.
Go, bid them prepare.
We will turn it off finely, sir. We will take some care.
Barone, they will shame us. Let them not approach.
We are shame-proof, my lord, and 'tis some policy to have one show worse than the king's and his company.
I say they shall not come.
Nay, my good lord, let me o'errule you now. That sport best pleases that doth least know how, where zeal strives to contend, and the contents dies in the zeal of that which it presents. Their form confounded makes most form in mirth, when great things laboring perish in their birth.
A right description of our sport, my lord.
God save you, madam.
Welcome, Mercad, but that thou interrupts our merriment.
I am sorry, madam, for the news I bring is heavy in my tongue. The king, your father,
Dead. For my life.
even so, my tale is told.
Worthies away, the scene begins to cloud.
I will kiss thy royal finger and take leave. I am a votary. I have vowed to Jacquinetta to hold the plough for her sweet love 3 years. For mine own part, I breathe free breath. I have seen the day of wrong through the little hole of discretion, and I will right myself like a soldier.
How fares your majesty?
Boyet, prepare. I will away tonight.
Madam, not so. I do beseech you, stay.
I said prepare. I thank you, gracious lords, for all your fair endeavors, and entreat, out of a new sad soul, that you vouchsafe in your rich wisdom to excuse or hide the liberal opposition of our spirits. If over boldly we have borne ourselves in the converse of breath, your gentleness was guilty of it. Farewell, worthy lord. A heavy heart bears not a nimble tongue. Excuse me so, coming too short of thanks for my great suit so easily obtained.
The extreme parts of time extremely forms all causes to the purpose of his speed, and often at his very loose decides that which long process could not arbitrate. And though the morning brow of progeny forbid the smiling courtesy of love, the holy suit which fain it would convince, yet since love argument was first on foot, let not the cloud of sorrow jostle it from what it purposed, since to wail friends lost is not by much so wholesome profitable as to rejoice at friends but newly found.
I understand you not. My griefs are double.
Honest, plain words best pierce the ear of grief, and by these badges understand the king. For your fair sakes have we neglected time, played foul play with our odes. Your beauty, ladies, hath much deformed us, fashioning our humors even to the opposite ends of our intents. And what in us had seemed ridiculous, if in your heavenly eyes have misbecome our O's and gravities, those heavenly eyes that look into these faults suggested us to make. Therefore, ladies, our love being yours, that error that makes love is likewise yours. We to ourselves prove false, by being once false forever to be true to those that made us both. Fair ladies, you. And even that falsehood in itself a sin, thus purifies itself and turns to grace.
We have received your letters full of love, your favors, the ambassadors of love, and in our maiden council rated them at courtship, pleasant jest, and courtesy, as bombast and as lining to the time. But more devout than this in our respects have we not been, and therefore met your loves in their own fashion, like a merriment.
Our letters, madam, showed much more than jest.
So did our looks.
We did not quote them so.
Now, at the latest minute of the hour, grant us your loves.
A time methinks too short to make a world without end bargain in. No, no, my lord, your grace is perjured much, full of dear guiltiness, and therefore this, if for my love, as there is no such cause, you will do aught, this you shall do for me. Your oath I will not trust, but go with speed to some forlorn and naked hermitage, remote from all the pleasures of the world. There stay until the 12 celestial signs have brought about the annual reckoning. If this austere and sociable life change not your offer made in heat of blood, if frosts and fasts, hard lodging and thin weeds nip not the gaudy blossoms of your love, but that it bear its trial in last love, then at the expiration of the year, come challenge me. Challenge me by these deserts, and by this virgin palm, now kissing thine, I will be thine. And till that instant, shut my woeful self up in a mourning house, raining the tears of lamentation for the remembrance of my father's death. If this thou do deny, let our hands part, neither entitled in the other's heart.
If this, or more than this, I would deny, to flatter up these powers of mine with rest, the sudden hand of death close up mine eye. Hence ever then, my heart is in thy breast.
But what to me, my love? What to me? Wife?
A beard, fair health, and honesty. With threefold love, I wish you all these three.
Oh, shall I say, thank you, gentle wife?
Not so, my lord. A 12-month and a day. I'll not mark what smooth-faced wooers say. Come, when the king doth come to my lady come, and then, if I have much love, I'll give you some.
I'll serve thee, and true, and faithfully, till then.
Yet swear not, lest ye be forsworn again.
What says Maria?
At the 12 months' end, I'll change my black gown for a faithful friend.
I'll stay with Patience, but the time is long.
The like are you. Few taller are so young.
Studies, my lady? Mistress, look on me. Behold the window of my heart, mine eye. What humble suit attends thy answer there? Impose some service on me for thy love.
Oft have I heard of you, my lord Baron, before I saw you. And the world's large tongue proclaims you for a man replete with mocks, full of comparisons and wounding flouts, which you on all estates will execute that lie within the mercy of your wit, to weed this wormwood from your fruitful brain, and therewithal to win me, if you please, without the which I am not to be won. You shall this 12-month term from day to day visit the speechless sick, and still converse with groaning wretches, and your task shall be, with all the fierce endeavor of your wit, to enforce the pained impotent to smile.
to move wild laughter in the throat of death. It cannot be. It is impossible. Mirth cannot move a soul in agony.
Why, that's the way to choke a jibing spirit whose influence is begot of that loose grace which shallow laughing hearers give to fools. A just propriety lies in the ear of him which hears it, never in the tongue of him that makes it. Then, if sickly ears, deafed with the clamors of their own dear groans, will hear your idle scorns continue then, and I will have you and that fault withal. But if they will not, throw away that spirit, and I shall find you empty of that fault, right joyful of your reformation.
A 12-month. Well, befall what will befall, I'll jest a 12-month in a hospital.
Aye, sweet my lord, and so I take my leave.
No, madam. We will take you on your way.
Our wooing doth not end like an old play. Jack hath not Jill. These ladies' courtesy might well have made our sport a comedy.
Come, sir. It wants a 12-month and a day, and then 'twill end.
That's too long for a play.